Welcome to ancient Egypt. These are the three famous pyramids located on the Giza Plateau. And this is a visual words in history. The goal of this presentation is to help you associate a word with an image in the hopes that it will help you to remember the definition of the word. Isn't this music mystifying? Let's begin our journey to ancient Egypt along the Nile River. Cataracts are steep rapids or waterfalls along a river. Concerning the Nile, there are 6 different areas where there are rapids or waterfalls. So, there are 6 different cataracts along the Nile River. Why are the cataracts important? The Nile River is like a roadway for ships. And the cataracts were like roadblocks. They were difficult to navigate by ship. At different points in the history, the Egyptians made one of the cataracts their defensive position to keep invaders out. At one point in the history, it was the first cataract. At another point in their history, when they expand into an empire, it becomes the 4th cataract. This map shows 5 of the 6 locations of the Nile cataracts. The 6th one is actually off of the map, down the bottom, past that location called Meroe. Now the word cataracts is abbreviated as CAT. And as the camera pans back, it's basically showing you also the direction that the Nile flows. It flows from the south to north, from the 5th cataract to the 4th to the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st, and then beyond the 1st, off of this map, to the Mediterranean Sea in the Nile Delta. Now, one interesting point about the Nile River: if you were to travel from Los Angeles, California to New York City, clear across the length of the United States, you'll have traveled about 3,000 miles. Now, if you travel from the source of the Nile at Lake Victoria to where it ends and empties at the Nile Delta into the Mediterranean Sea, you will travel over 4,000 miles. I think this is a really super cool picture taken from a satellite in space that shows the Nile River snaking its way through what is essentially miles and miles and miles of desert. It really gives you a sense of how the Nile River deposited fertile soil all along its riverbank. Now that fertile soil was about 6 miles wide on average. You must remember this: the Nile River flows from south to north. There's a patch of fertile soil on the left-hand side of the river. That is the Fayum Oasis. Then above, the large triangular marshy wetlands known as the Nile Delta. That's where the Nile separates into smaller rivers and streams, eventually depositing all its water into the Mediterranean Sea above. Peace! I'm talking about that hand and 2 fingers off to the right. The hand is the Red Sea, and the two fingers are the Gulf of Suez and the Gulf of Aqaba. This picture really gives you a sense of how the ancient Egyptians depended on the Nile. Desert for miles and miles around, except for the fertile soil on the riverbank. And of course the Nile Delta. Here's a map of the Nile Delta with some locations on it. Quickly, is this the northern end of the river or the southern end of the river? Just want to point out a couple locations. Giza is the location of what is probably the three most famous pyramids. But Saqqara and Dashur also have pyramids built there. Then up at nearly the top of the Nile Delta is Rosetta. And that's where the Rosetta Stone was found, the key to decoding hieroglyphics. Here's the papyrus plant, which grew all along the river, and the Egyptians used it to make many different things. Shoes, mats to lie down on, even boats, and of course, paper. No such thing as books in ancient Egypt. Sound good? Well, they did have papyrus scrolls, some of them more than 100 feet long. From plant to paper, and this is how they did it. They'd take the papyrus plant, cut it into strips, take those strips, kind of roll them out and flatten them out, kind of like a pie crust. Line the strips up side by side, and then put another layer on top of that, running horizontal to the first. And then that last picture is the modern